Hello guys, and welcome once again to Savannah Essence. You are welcomed and happy new year. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe. We will really appreciate that. Today we are going to talk about beginner soap making. This is part of our beginner soap making playlist that we are making for the month of January. And we are talking about soap making essentials. These are the basics that I think every beginner soap maker needs to know or needs to have before you start. So to start off, the first thing that you will need is a recipe book. This is very important because it helps guide you throughout your soap journey. It gives you a journal or an opportunity to write down all the failures and all your successes. You know what works for you and what doesn't work. Helps you to know which recipe to tweak and which ones to keep. It helps you to know which recipe you can sell and which ones you cannot. Most often we believe that we remember the things that we do, but sometimes you pick a soap and you wonder, what soap is this? What went into it? And you do not know. And a recipe book will help. Next are your protective wears. You've seen me wear a lot of gloves here on this channel. Gloves are quite important. They protect your hands because that's what you use in making soap, which is critical. Your eye protection is also very important. These are my glasses that I use, including a face shield and sometimes a nose mask. These are quite critical because the caustic soda you use in soap making is quite corrosive, and if you are not careful and your hands come in contact with them, you might get a burn. So protective wears are important. It's advisable to wear your long sleeves whenever you are soaping. That is also another protective wear that we need to take critical. And then you can wear your boots, and if you have an apron, you wear over whichever dress it is you're using to make your soap. These are quite critical and essential. Another thing that we need to pay close attention to is the soaping area. You always need to ensure that where you soap is kept a little bit separate from where you cook. But if you are one of us who soap in your kitchen, make sure that your area is a bit separate. Make sure that your soap supplies are kept in a place where your children do not have access to, or where you make your soap is kept in a place where kids and pets do not have access to. Make sure you soap in an airy and spacious place where there's air circulation. This is quite important. So your soaping area is another critical area that we have to pay attention to. Then your soaping tools and materials. Now this is basic knowledge. We all know that we need a skill, a digital skill when we want to make soap. Let me say this once again for those at the back. You need a scale, Tom. You cannot make soap with cups and spoons, measure 1 cup of this. No. You need a digital skill, and this might be one of the critical purchases you make as a beginner soap maker. Then you need your vessels in which you use to make your soaps. So different containers. If you start, you can use what you have in your kitchen. When I started, I used most of the spoons in my kitchen and the cups and everything. These are some of the things that I use in making soap when I was a beginner, and I still use them. Most of these things you can buy from Melcom. In soap making, you need a stainless steel, you need a glassware, you need plastic. I am very clumsy, so I use my plastic and stainless steel. I can't use glass because I'll break all of them. So these are the things that I stick to. If you can purchase or if you can afford and you are not clumsy, try using glass. That's actually what is highly recommended. All these things you can find at Melcom at a very cheap price, and I think this is one of my best buys, that particular cup with a nozzle that helps you to easy pour out. Another essential is your stick blenders. For a beginner, it might not entirely be necessary. You can just make your soap without them, but if you have enough cash, you should purchase that. Then your soaping supplies. This is what makes your soap. So be sure that where you buy your supplies are verified and the source is quite good. Here at Savannah Essence, we sell different oils that we make ourselves, and some we have trusted partners that we work with. You can get different types of oils from us, including shea butter, cocoa butter. You are sorted. Caustic soda. If you are in Ghana, just go to the market and say you are looking for soap, a place where they sell soap supplies. You can get your caustic soda. It's quite cheap and readily available. And then when you buy it, make sure you store it well. So your soaping supplies are another very critical thing that you need to pay attention to if you're a beginner soap maker. Then your soap molds. Now for soap molds, they come in different forms. As a beginner, you either start with these individual soap molds, or you can use a soap box with where you cast your soap yourself. It depends on you. I will advise that you improvise. When I started making soaps, I used a lot of things in my kitchen, to be frank with you. So I use cornflakes boxes, I use my Nitifu boxes, I use my porridge boxes, I use my Pringles cans, which I actually still use till date. And so these were some of the things that I use, and I'd advise that you start with some of these things before you go purchase your soap molds and other things. You can get soap molds on Instagram. I bought mine on AliExpress. This is an example of a Pringles can that I use in making my soap, and this is actually our next soap video. It's easy, to do, and it's quite a good mold for making soap. So I'd advise us to stick to that. If you are a beginner and you want to save costs, or you just want to experiment to know what works and what doesn't work, so that's what I would say. The next thing which is usually the final stage, is not your final stage. Your other supplies are your alcohol and your tissue paper. Alcohol is very important because that's what you use to sanitize your space before you start making your soap, and then you use to spray it on your soap to prevent soda ash. And your tissue paper, just like the alcohol, is what helps you clean your spaces. If you're as clumsy as I am, I'm going to say that again, you need these two things. They are quite important. Then the final stage is the cutting. Basically, you need a knife. That's what I use as a beginner. You need a knife, and it does the job well. Maybe when you start, you might not be cutting it the way you want it, but with time, you might perfect it. I still haven't. Don't ask me why. But yes, for the cutting, you need a knife. And so basically, these are some of the basic soap essentials that I think that as a beginner you might need to start. Let me know if I left something out in the comment section, or if you have any question, let me know. If you are new here, welcome to our page. Kindly subscribe and like our content, and thank you very much for staying with us. Do have a lovely day. Thank you.